Hey guys, it's Al. Welcome back to the channel. I actually wanted to just jump on at the moment to discuss kind of what it is to be in a team and what it is to kind of deal with different personalities and different tasks and what it is to be a soul family. And I don't like, as you guys know, I don't really care for drama. But I also don't like to leave people in a situation where they feel like they're alone. And so this is pretty much just talking about a course correction that I needed to make on my own for my own soul in relation to another soul that I really enjoy and that I really think highly of. And this person is going through a series of spiritual attacks. And so one of the things I noticed about the situation was that I'm starting to notice even further into it from standing far back enough that it doesn't seem to just stop there, because one of the things I've really been clear on today was the divisiveness to the devil, if you will. When the devil tries to reach people that are on the verge of being removed off the board, they tend to do only one thing, which is to try to divide the team and to make the team go at each other, and will trigger like insecurities or defensiveness or whatever it is. But the thing to remember, I find for myself, is that I should never not think of the other person and understand that there are things I don't see that are happening behind the scenes. So though it's easy for me to channel and to hear the divine say what I need to say, it's also a moment where I can be a friend and not just be a vessel and say to the other person on the team, hey, I know that we need to tighten up all those holes and we're trying to stand in our power, but know that on a soul level, if you ever need to talk to someone, that I am available as a friend as well. If you want. And so, 818-984-5339. You can always text me, and I'll be, even if you want to yell at me, like I've said this to the king and to one of the divine kings, and I'm saying this now to the divine queen, like, you just know that even though there are roles that we all do, we all are still on the same team. And I couldn't succeed in my life without you or him or the others on in the group. And so I don't ever want to leave someone feeling like they are not supported, because though I understand that we do have to close everything up, we still have to stand together and remember that no one is better than anyone else. And so, like, if I ever say that I'm leading something, I'm not leading us. I'm saying that it's like I'm focusing our attention on a specific thing, and that's what I mean by leading. I'm not like actually taking charge of any, because everybody here is everybody's equal. And so I don't ever want to come across where I appear to be no. Everybody is equal. It's just that each of us have different tasks. And one of the problems that we're having at this point is that we're getting so close to what's coming, and the arrival of the chariot, and the fact that we're in rapture. It's harder when we don't get to talk to each other. And so I thought, well, what if I just actually offer, for those of you on this frequency, because it's not many of us, to the 12 of us that are on here that see this, that's my number. If you ever just need to yell at somebody or just chat with somebody or, just get things off your chest. Or I know that we all feel alone, especially with the COVID thing. Everybody's feeling very, very alone. And I just want to say that we're not alone. We always have the divine. But if you ever need somebody else besides the divine, just to say, hey, what did you do here? Or when you went through, or have you gone through this? And then I would say, no, I haven't gone through that. What are you doing? And you know what I mean? Like, it's just that camaraderie. I think that's the best thing to do in certain situations, because I've noticed that to the Divine Queen, I actually think the world of this person, but because of wording, I reacted in a way that was like, well, why are you know what I mean? I wasn't being supportive. I was being like a coworker as opposed to a teammate. You know what I mean? Like, there's a difference between being teammates and being coworkers. If you're just coworkers, then you have this like kind of you have to get along type of thing. But when you're teammates, you actually are people who actually get along with each other and are trying for the group to succeed. And so I'd rather have that personified than anything else, because where we're going, it doesn't matter what our background is, because we all came through different avenues. And so where my concern came across possibly incorrectly was that I am because of what I'm doing, like, everybody has their own task, but because of my task, I have to be able to get along with everybody But that doesn't mean that I like everybody. So the people that I like, I need to make sure that I tell you that I'm always here. Especially to these individuals, because you're building houses and so you're under a siege. But just because I'm being asked to make sure that we back each other up and saying tighten up the doors and all that stuff, that's great. But on a friend level, as a soul friend, that's not contractual, because all of us at this point are all lateral. So it's not like we're contracted to each other, we're contracted to the divine. We just have to be, I guess, politically correct with each other. But if I enjoy somebody and if I respect that person and that person has helped me grow and grow and grow, then I'm not about to turn my back and say, hey, I'm not here for you. I'm here. And so that's the same thing for the Divine King. Because we're not working directly together, things that we are not privy to are the devil's playground. Because we can take something that someone says the wrong way, not realizing that they're specifically talking to someone else. But because of the situation, we don't know what's going on in the background. You see what I'm saying? So though a comment that I took the wrong way may not have been directed to me, because of the subject matter, because we're in a grouping, and because we're all on the same frequency, then it's a little bit harder to sometimes differentiate. So that's my bad. I totally take ownership for that. But don't ever think to you guys that I am not an ally. You know what I mean? Like, I know that people, I'm too sweet and all this stuff, and that people can get a little annoyed with me. But at the end of the day, we are brought together by the divine for a reason. And because we've helped each other get to where we all are at the gates, and we're getting all in, then I just wanted to make sure that we touch base and remind each other that we can reach to... There's very few people on the planet that understand what you're going through. Does that make sense? And so it's important, I think, to not allow the devil to turn against people that have helped each other along the way. Because it's kind of like, don't forget where you come from. That type of mentality. But only this one is divine intervention, which was, I got a course correction today. And it was because it wasn't sitting right with me. And I was like, well, do I have a guilty conscience? And I was like, no, I don't have anything to be guilty about. And then I started to think about it. It was because what was eating at me was my subconscious was saying, hey, you're being manipulated. They are being manipulated. And it's not like we're being manipulated. It has to do with the fact that it's so easy to take offense to stuff when you don't talk to each other directly. And so I think the divine, I think the divine is working on something that way. Because when you don't have personal experience in this lifetime, it's easy to judge another person. Even though we don't, it's also easy to take something that someone says the wrong way because you're speaking to a group of people and not... But you know how people personalize it, so that's like an insecurity on my part, I guess. But I'm noticing that with our particular divine connection between us, that we're all about to move up together. And so why not adhere to the brotherhood and sisterhood that belongs to the divine army? Because we all came from different avenues, but we can't forget that those were the avenues that we came to. So that's where I might come across sometimes a little bitchy. Might be like, hey, that's my task. I have to say, like, hey, we can't close the door to that because that's how we came through. So that is a direct pathway to the divine. And so that's where my head is at a lot of times. And so I still have to remember or remind myself that I'm still human. So I sometimes don't catch myself in the way that I'm saying something. And so I don't ever want anyone else's groupings to think that I have an issue with anybody, because I think everybody here is brilliant in their own way and everybody is equal. And so I'm just trying to remind everybody that we're still on task, and that's what we're each doing. And so that's why I always say there's no place for ego, because we're all working in tandem with each other. And so the divine just reminded me, look at this from a different perspective and then see what you want to do about it. And I said, and when I thought about it for a while, I realized that it's really easy for the devil to play with those that are about to enter the gate, because we have so much we're carrying so many people with us. And so it's, you know what I mean, like, we're leading people, and that's a big responsibility. So sometimes you can trick a good soul into thinking that that they're by themselves, and that's the best way to unravel someone, is by making them feel isolated and alone. And so, like, if you're being attacked, though, yes, I understand that, we're supposed to tighten the hatches and all that sort, but whatever that terminology is for the boat, it's also important to realize that we're still there for each other. So if I can tell you exactly how I went through it, but the restraint I have is that every one of you has your own houses, and every one of you is doing your own task in your own way, in the way that the divine is talking to you. So it's hard for me to say to all 12, or to the people at this vibration, how to do things, because I don't step in front of the divine. The divine leads that way. So I hope that everybody understands what I'm saying. So there's no animosity with me, with anybody out there, like none whatsoever. If I come across that way, it's just maybe take a minute and just say, okay, well, why would he be? Because like I'm one of the sweetest people in the world, and I know that piss out of a lot of people, and that's the comment. That was one of the comments. You see what I'm saying? So I'm still human, and I'm still learning just like the rest of us are, and we're all trying to work as one. But I don't ever want to leave anybody feeling like they are alone. You are not alone by any means, shape, or form. We are together, and we are a divine grouping. We're not necessarily a family unless we choose to be a family, but we are being brought together by the divine for a reason. And so instead of competing, which is what they want us to believe, because we can't compete. It's not something that we earned. It's something that we were given because of who we are and birthright and whatnot, because all of us have our birthrights. And it's just about stepping into that and being graceful and learning how to operate like that. So just understand that when I'm speaking to like the group of us, I'm not pointing out any one person. I'm trying to, like you guys do with me. You see what I'm saying? Like when we guide each other, we know that we're talking to specific groupings of people, but we're also talking to a larger group that follows it, because we're having to deal in layers, right? So there's layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, because we know there are people that will follow later. And so because of that, it can get a little dodgy. So for the group that I'm speaking to, the initial 12, I'm going to say this. I will always be there as a brother or sister if you want me to. If you are not comfortable with that, that's cool. But understand that, I still have to do my task. And though I never want to come across telling anybody what to do. And so that's why I will pull back on something. Because a lot of you are having to deal with followers. You're having to deal with actual people that you are going to lead into the light. I'm dealing with the people who are leading the mountains. I'm dealing with mountains. You see what I'm saying? So it's a different thing. Because like for me, I want to make sure that I'm still a friend and an ally. And at the same time, still have to remember that you are also then leading all of your people. And so sometimes I forget, because I'm human, that you might be even more attacked than I went through, because of the fact that I've been protected. I've been hidden away, right? And so that y'all know that no one sees this frequency but me and you. And so understand that it's not that I'm still going to forget stuff like that. But y'all see, I will always course correct. I am super not egoish about it. If I fuck up, I'm going to say I fucked up. And so in this situation, just know that I always will have your back, and if you want. If you don't, that's cool. Like, I'm not going to take it personally. But I'm never going to devalue the struggle that you're going through. So just understand that if I say something that sounds like that, that's not what I'm saying. And I'm going to do the same thing with everybody in this grouping. I'm just going to take a step back and go, okay, there must be something I'm not seeing here. Because it sounded to me like it was directed towards me. But then I realized, well, that's what the devil would want you to think. It's the only thing I have left, which is I am protected. I've learned the armor is all there and protected externally, but I still needed to be reminded, and that's why I don't know if it's the devil per se for me. I think it might have been the masters or elders, or the divine, because I was taken off guard because it was one of the 12, right? And so even though I know that they would never intentionally do something to derail our progress, it still was something that I was blindsided by, because I was not in my place. I was not in alignment. Because if you're in alignment, then you realize that the 12 are brothers and sisters, and the divine wouldn't bring us together if we weren't. You see what I'm saying? So I just want to make sure that I'm very clear that if y'all ever need to talk, literally my number is 818-984-5339. If you need to call and just be like, listen, Al, I need to yell at somebody. Do you have a second? I'm going to go, yeah. Because of who we are. It's just because of what we're doing. It's so easy for the negative energies to feed off of the fact that we are isolated right now. And so until these connecting flights and these timelines start to collide with each other, we're at a disadvantage, but it doesn't mean that we have to be disempowered. We can empower ourselves to reach out and say, hey, I think I fucked up. It was me. And that's what I'm doing. Like, I think it was me. And so just because I think what they're trying to do is to make us do what I was close to doing last time, which is, you know what, this is too much drama. I don't want it. I don't want it. When we do that, that's what they want. You see what I'm saying? Because then we almost forfeit our paradise. No. We stand even firmer together and just say, okay, I don't agree with what you're saying right now, but you're still my sister. Or I don't agree with what you're doing, buddy, but you're still my brother. And we're divine beings. And so when I said that at the end of the last, because that's what stuck in my craw, when I said we're all divine beings, so act like it, I was projecting because I should have been acting more like a divine being myself. But that's what growing is. It's about learning when you fuck up. And so that was what was sticking to me. And so here I was thinking that something was just wrong, and it was because I had projected something, which is when you're a divine being, you also have to make sure that everybody else is okay. So if I ever made any one of you feel like I didn't have your back, even though we don't know each other per se yet, it's not from a bad place. It's because sometimes what I'm being told to say is to the leaders of the leaders. You see what I'm saying? And so it comes across a little bit. You can always tell by my tone if that I'm speaking on behalf of the divine, and it has to do with business. But if you see my normal demeanor and stuff like that, it's, I'm kind of like a big old sunshine ball. And that annoys people like crazy. And so I understand what it means to be attacked by it. But I guess what the concern was the fact that we're there, we're at the gates, like we're safe. You know what I mean? We are absolutely safe. And so I don't want anybody to feel like I'm not there as a possible friend, because I'm totally always going to be an ally to people first, because of the fact that I know that I know what it was like. I know what it was like to live my entire life in hidden, and I know what it was like to be constantly attacked but not know what was going on and have like people. And so now that I am at a position where I've been taken off the board, if I can be of service in any way, shape, or form to anyone out there that is feeling the attack, then just let me know, because then I can take off my task is. I can take that task hat off of me and go, okay, well, here's what I did. Or, it would also be nice to reach out to you guys and say, hey, what did you do for this? You know what I mean? Like, to reach out instead of because it's almost like we're living in a state of confusion because we're not able to communicate. Well, then let's alleviate that. We have all the power in the world. Let's just text each other and just say, hey, I know you don't know me, but I'm going through this. What did you do? Or, and then that opens the gate for me. I'm giving you my number because I know that most people won't put their number out there, but I'm fearless. So just text me. And then that opens the gate. And so then if I ever, I'll just be like, hey buddy, or hey girl, what did you do for this? Okay? Because the reason I brought that up is that when I was on my walk today, when I was communing with God, I came across this book in the middle of the walkway, and it was brand new, unopened, and I just want you guys to know what it says. It says, prayer can change your life. And it has notes in it, and it's crystal, it's perfect. But it has this beautiful written, now what are the odds of that? And so it was a gift. It was a gift from the cosmos. And I realized that there's only one person I can think of that probably would love to banter about this if she wants to. And I realized that she's always been there for me as a leader, and so I realized I hadn't really been there for her as a friend. And so to all of you out there, just know that that's first and foremost what I'll try. If you want me to help, hell, I'll get on a fucking plane if I can afford it and go. That's what friendship is. But I don't ever, if I ever seem reserved, it's because I'm trying not to take someone else's freedom away. So I'm putting this out there to you guys. If you ever want to talk to somebody who has been through what you're going through, just text me. You don't even have to call, because I know that's really awkward when you call somebody for the first time. But if you just want to text me and just be like, hey, I kind of need to talk, and I don't care what time it is. If I'm awake, I'm going to answer back and go, okay. You know what I mean? And so just have that avenue open. I know that it seems kind of weird since we don't really know each other, but the devil is just trying to undermine. It wants us to give away our what we've earned, and I'll be hell bent. I'm not going to fucking let that happen for myself, and especially not for you all who have helped me incredibly reach wherever I am going in life, and we're all going together. I know that we all have different tasks and we have to have different perspectives in how we deal with it. But we all have to remember that the divine wouldn't have led us together if it wasn't for a reason. And so I'm going to use my reason, my sense of reason, to deduce that, you know what I mean? Like, we're a brother and sisterhood. And so though we don't always agree with the methodology of how we got to it, we all still do literally represent divine light. That's it, guys. So if you need anything, just let me know. I hope that kind of made you feel loved, because that's what this intention is of this message. So that's it for me, guys. My name is Al. Have a good... I don't know why I'm ending that way. They got me on this reporter thing. Never mind. If you text me, I'll tell you all about it. But it has to do with like... I want... Personally, for me, I'm at a point where, because I'm very aligned, and especially now that I'm like trying to reach out to people directly, they're at this frequency. I'm really all about bringing beauty into the world and aesthetics, and using that as a vessel to reflect to God, to the divine, to spirit, the beauty that they create through us, because it's all an extension, right? And then also the beauty that's already there from the nature. And so that's where my head's at. So, but don't ever think that I'm not available to everybody at any time, because that's not who I am. Anyway,